friends! Welcome back to our last planned day of science and our last day of the week where we are celebrating Black scientists in support of George Floyd and all of those who came before him. Again, if you have not had a conversation with your family about what is going on in the world with the social unrest, you should definitely bring that to the dinner table and talk to your parents about maybe what they think or what's going on and how you guys think that impacts your lives. To celebrate today, we are talking about Marie Maynard Daly, and of course we have our fabulous printout for her, just like we did for our other 4 scientists this week. We have our little collection going on, which is really fun, and we're going to learn all about her life's work and what she did that we still use today in just a little bit as we wire up a paper circuit for her. But I do want to go through the supplies that you will need on hand to get the project done with us. So if you're making the paper circuit with us, you will need some copper tape. This is conductive tape. You could use aluminum tape also, or some sort of metallic tape to do that part. If you want, you'll need an LED. I'm choosing red today because we're going to do some stuff with the heart. And you'll need something to power your LED, like a battery. Our batteries we've been using are coin cell batteries because they look like coins. And you will want to test that your battery and your LED work together so that you can get your LED to light up. If this is your first time doing paper circuits with us, there's only 4 ways to put an LED on a battery. One is to put 2 legs on one side, doesn't light up because we're not creating a loop from the top to the bottom. So then of course, 2 legs on the bottom doesn't work. You could put 1 leg on top and 1 leg on bottom to try to test yours, but if you put the short leg on top, it won't work. So we have to flip it over. If your LED doesn't light up, you can flip it over and try that. If your LED still doesn't light up, you're going to need to find a different battery and a different LED, so you can run and go find that real fast. You're going to need some non-conductive tape, so a plastic tape, which is like a Scotch tape, or a paper tape, like a masking tape or a washi tape will work great for that. And then we've been sort of cutting out our scientists and making these fun little pop-up pieces. And if you want to do that with us, you'll also need a pair of scissors. And that is all that we need to celebrate our scientists today, which is kind of exciting. We've had a really good week celebrating all of our scientists who have made huge contributions. And I do want to say, there's not just 5 Black scientists who have made contributions into your lives. There are hundreds of thousands of them who are doing it daily. They're just not spotlighted as often. So please know that. And if you want to learn more about them, you can always search Google. Google has tons of them and will give you a whole array. Or if you're of a different background, like I'm Puerto Rican, maybe I want to search and find out a whole bunch of scientists from Puerto Rico or Hispanic scientists. Maybe I want to look at that. Or maybe I want to look for female scientists. So whatever your background is, you can always look for scientists that inspire you too. All right, I want to see who we have with us today on our last day. It's crazy.
Last day.
Last day.
Last day.
I think we'll come back in July with maybe some more paper circuits, but we do need a breathing break.
It's been 65 days of science.
Oh my gosh.
64.
64 days because we skipped 1 day. Was it Memorial Day? Is that the one that's?
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. 1 day, but the last 13 weeks, I cannot believe it. We thought it was just going to be 2 weeks, and then 6 weeks, and then 12 weeks, and now we're at week 13. So we're going to take a little bit break after this, but we'll come back in July with
something
cool stuff. Yeah. Indeed.
First up.
I
think this is the first time he's been first.
Ooh, Abel.
But no, Abel's been first before.
Abel's been first. Oh,
yeah.
who's the first?
First up, we have Rohan.
Hello, Rohan. How are you today? Oh, I'm so glad you're with us. And happy summer.
Then we have, I think we can crown them our champions.
George and Henry. Welcome, you guys. We do need to get George and Henry like a crown. We need to send them a crown. They're here, I'm pretty sure every single day.
We can make it light up.
Maybe one day they weren't. And they're always they always come early.
I know.
Very early. I'm excited that you boys are here.
They are competitive too, it seems.
That doesn't surprise me. I know, George.
We have got hi from Venetia.
Hello, Venetia. I'm so glad you're with us all week. It's been so fun to see you.
And we got Kaya in the house.
Hello, Kaya. Kaya has been doing so good. She went from needing lots of help with her paper circuits to doing them all by herself.
Wow.
I know.
Go, Kaya.
A lot of you guys are really you're pros now.
I am not surprised.
Pretty cool.
After a week of straight paper circuits.
I'm pretty excited about it.
We got Kaya was sad.
Oh.
Penelope's sad. Or Venetia's sad.
Because it's our last day.
But she says, have a nice summer anyway.
I know. We'll be back.
Yeah.
We're going to come back in July. We're just going to go camping for a little bit.
We got Naomi in the house.
Hi, Naomi. Happy last day of school to you.
Happy last day
So
of school.
exciting. You have like an hour and a half left of school.
I know.
Amazing.
We got Johnny.
Hello, John. I'm excited for you too. John's homeschooled though, so I don't know if he has like a strict last day or if like it does what's happening in our house of like sort of just fizzling out. We'll see. We'll find out.
Let's see. We have Barbara and Leonard.
Oh, bonjour, Barbara and Leonard. Oh, I'm so glad you came for our last day. Yay.
Then we've got Kailani, Keiko, and
Hello,
Kailani.
Kailani.
Kahalia.
Keikoa and Kahalia. Did we say it right this
Well,
time?
we had a pronunciation.
Kahalia or Kahalia? Ooh, different.
One of those. L-I-A was that.
Kahalia. Okay, well, hopefully we got it right. I really like to get names right because I feel like names give us our backgrounds. That's like who we are. So I want to make sure I give people the right name. It's important to me.
Absolutely. Then we have Abel's here.
Hello, Abel. How are you today? Thought you came in first.
I know. And
He's been doing a good job on his paper circuits too. You've been doing great, Abel. I'm very impressed.
We got Emma, teacher Emma.
Hello, Emma. Welcome. Oh, Isabella would be so excited that teacher Emma came today.
I know.
She'll be very happy.
She's working on programming right now.
Ooh, yes, Isabella's. She's doing the programming thing, which we all know means
Frustration.
We're frustrated.
We got Clara and Anna.
Hello, Clara.
They're
and
over
Anna.
in Zoom. Hi, girls.
Yay! Ooh, I'm so glad you guys are in Zoom. Fantastic. And we will continue when we come back in July. We will continue to have life over in Zoom and on YouTube for those parents who are like, YouTube? My kid alone on YouTube? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Which I get.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
Barbara and Leonard said they have 4 more weeks of school.
4? Oh.
And they have 2 days a week of real school and then 2 days a week of homeschooling.
You guys are so lucky, though, that you get to go in. I know my girls, they would love to go into
Capital
school.
L, capital O,
Yes.
capital V. And
Capital E. The number of times I've been told I am not Emma is large. It's like, zoop!
All right, that's what we got.
That's who we have. Fantastic. Well, let's learn about our spotlight scientist, Marie Maynard Daly, today. So, if you have ever heard something about your heart and maybe like, oh, I don't want to eat that because it's going to hurt my heart, or it's not a heart-healthy food, or sugar is not good for you. I know it's delicious, but it's not good for you in large quantities. You have this lovely woman to thank. She is like the mother of all scientists and discoveries that are based around pretty much things that go on in our body. It's kind of insane what she's done, but she is the person who has told us that our hearts and the health of our hearts and the health of our arteries that pump blood through our bodies is partially determined by food, which is really cool. So that is sort of her big thing that she's done. She grew up in Queens, New York, and she is like a New Yorker through and through. So when she went to college, she went to Queens College to get her bachelor's. And she was really inspired, actually, when she was younger. Her mom, like all moms and dads, nurtured that love of reading in her. And she read this book called The Microbe Hunters. And it talked all about like microbes and vaccines and like how we kill bacteria, how we find bacteria. And she was mesmerized by this. So when she went to go get her master's, she got her master's at NYU. And people at Queens College like sort of like helped her get a job at NYU as she got her master's. And she is like, I mean, all of our scientists are really hard workers. To be a scientist, you really have to work hard and get up and be ready to work hard and struggle with failure. But she got her master's in a year, which is really, really fast, especially considering she was also taking classes as well as doing research as well as teaching. And she did it in 1 year. It took me 2 years. I'm like twice the timeline of her. So 2 years is like kind of normal. So she got her master's, and then she went over to Columbia University And she got mentored by Mary Caldwell. And Mary Caldwell is the person who discovered an enzyme amylase. And if you've been with us our whole 13 weeks, you might remember that day that we made poop. I remember the day we made poop. The same day.
There's some kids nodding and
yes.
saying
The same day that we made poop, we also chewed up some crackers and spit them in a Ziploc bag. And we watched what happened. You might have remembered Isabella was not on that train. Georgia was kind of okay with it. But we chewed it up, and we learned about amylase, which was that enzyme that sort of chews down those carbohydrates and breaks them smaller. So instead of having like crackers, we got these like soft, mushy gushiness, which was how our digestive system worked. And Marie was mentored by this woman who studied that at Columbia, and she got her PhD looking at what things are involved in digestion, like what enzymes, what proteins, how do our cells get their energy, really focused on all those teeny tiny little things, all those little interactions in the cell, all those tiny things is what she studied, and she put it together to learn how our bodies digest food and extract energy from food. She did her PhD in 3 years. That's bonkers. It took me 6.5 years. 3 years for her PhD, which is kind of crazy. So she was also the first African-American female in the entire country to get a PhD in chemistry, which also means she was clearly the first African-American female at Columbia to get a PhD in chemistry. But she was the first in the whole country. Imagine the weight on your shoulders to be the first one that does that. And then after she studied the digestive tract, she started wondering about other parts of our body. Like, how does our body work together? How is the heart important? Does diet affect our heart? And she learned that when we eat food that has fat in it, which is totally fine and healthy. We need that for energy. But some foods have different types of fat in it, and some of those fats are maybe a little bit waxy, and they can go into our little arteries, like kind of like tubes that carry our blood, and they can clog them, which could lead to a heart attack. She also learned that, like sugar, if we eat a lot of sugar, our bodies don't do so great with that. And she learned, like, oh, we have to produce more insulin, and we store it as fat. So she really learned all about this diet and exercise and heart health. She discovered how creatine helps build muscles in athletes, which is kind of amazing. So everything she did really worked on how does our body use energy? How do we break things down? How is everything going on in those teeny tiny cells on a really small basis? So much so that actually Watson and Crick, when they won the Nobel Prize, cited her papers. So she helped them learn and discover, and her research contributed to that Nobel Prize, which I think is pretty amazing. So yeah, she did a lot of great stuff. I love her. Maybe I don't love her as much because she's telling me I shouldn't eat ice cream all the time, but I'm still gonna like her a lot. So our fabulous little picture today is all of the things that maybe we shouldn't be eating, but are delicious for our heart health. And then I have this fun little heart, and it's like a little pump, like a bump, 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 pump of the heart. So we're gonna wire up our heart, and we can even make it beat the way that we press our button. And then like these other ones, we're gonna cut it out to make it pop up. So let's get started on the paper circuit.
This seems like a great one for multiple LEDs.
Yes, I'm using 2 LEDs, but honestly, I've seen some of you guys with like 6, 7, 10 LEDs. I think you should go wild on this.
I see Claire, she looks like she's got a bunch of tape, maybe a lot of LEDs going on.
All right, so if this is your first time doing paper circuits with us, we're gonna use our copper tape, and I'm gonna just cut off a little bit right now to show you guys what we don't want to do. So you have to peel this white backing off of your copper tape to be able to make it stick, because it's kind of like a sticker right now. It's stuck onto that white paper. And when I peel it, I just peel a little bit like this. And normally I would stick it straight onto my piece of paper, right? And then I would peel it and stick it as I go. And the reason for that is if I take this all the way off, it gets really curly and really hard to deal with. And you have to like undo it. And by the time you undo it, all of the oils from your hands have made it completely not sticky. So we don't want to do that. What we do want to do is we want to, again, start it. I use my fingernail to just get under there. This is like maybe the hardest part, is getting it started. And then now that it's started peeled, I'm going to stick it down to the paper. And so the first one I'm going to do is this yellow line that is outlined in black. And you'll notice that it makes a turn, so it sort of turns down. I want to do this in one single piece. of tape, all right? So I don't want to do one piece of tape over and then cut my tape and then put another piece of tape down. Because when I make this circuit, the electrons need this little highway to go drive on. And if I put tape and then I break it and I put another piece of tape, I still have highways, but I have two highways and one is low and one is high, and somehow those electrons have to get their little cars through the glue and straight up in the air and then onto the other highway. And it doesn't work very well. So we want just one highway that will make that bend. And I'll show you how to do that without ripping it. So I'm going to peel it and I'm going to stick it right to the page. Just like that. I'm going to keep peeling and sticking, pressing it down. And then when I get to this corner, again, I don't want to rip it here. What I do is I give myself a little bit extra, and I'm just going to stick it down in a place further down the line. And then this, I can just press down and it makes that beautiful fold for me. And I'm going to peel it and I'm going to stick it all the way into that green circle that I have. And it's okay if it gets a little wobbly. I got a little wobbly there, no big deal. I want to make sure I go into the green circle, but not out of. So mine's a little bit too long. I'm going to peel it up a little bit and pinch a little bit more off so that it's in that circle, but it's not through that circle. All right, and you do want to make sure you get in, not just barely touching it. You want to be into the circle at least halfway. And that is so our battery can touch it. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And this one's a little tricky because I have 2 turns to do. But I know you guys have been working so hard all week. You will be able to do this. So I'm going to peel it again. I peel a little bit. And instead of peeling all of it, I'm going to start sticking it straight to the paper. So I'm going to peel it. I'm going to start sticking it to the paper. Just like that. And again, once I get to this corner, I'm going to give myself some extra space. So I'm peeling about 1 inch off. And then I can just pull it down here and stick it down. It's got this ugly lumpy piece, and that's fine because I'll just press it down and it made that fold for me. So now I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to peel and stick it all the way down here. I'll give myself about 1 inch or so extra. And then I'm just going to stick it down onto the paper. Ooh, that looks totally ugly right there. But it's totally fine because my highway is still all one piece. I don't think the electrons really care what their highways look like, just that they are open. So I'll just gently press that down like that. And you can use your fingernail or your thumbnail to sort of press these pieces down. Beautiful. All right, so next I'm going to add my battery. And if you weren't here in the very beginning, we do want to test our battery and our LEDs. So again, there's 4 ways to connect your LED to your battery. One of them is to put both legs on the top. But a circuit, whenever I think of circuit, I always think circle. And right now, I don't have a circle. A circle would be coming out of the top of the battery, making a circle, and going into the bottom. But I don't have anything to make a circle yet. Same thing if I put both legs on the bottom. And then I could, of course, put one leg on the top and one leg on the bottom. And now I do have a circuit. Because I go out of the top, up through the leg, into the LED, and down. And you might be like, Dr. Erica, it's still not working. And that's okay. Because LEDs are these little holes that the electrons jump through. They're like little slides. And when they slide down, they say, yippee! And they're so happy. But they're also really good rule followers. And you might remember from when you were younger that your mama and your dada always said, don't climb up the slide. So right now, our slide is the wrong way. And all the electrons are sitting there being like, but we have to climb up the slide. And they are such good rule followers that they won't do it. What you can do is you can flip it over like that, and you put one leg on top, one leg on bottom, and it lights up. And there's a way to know how to put it on all the time, and that is that there are 2 size legs. So one leg is sort of slightly longer, and one leg is slightly shorter. The short leg goes on the bottom, and the long leg always goes on the top. If you're doing more than one LED, I strongly suggest you add all of your LEDs straight onto your battery to make sure your battery is strong enough. All right, because I might add some more and then they might not work anymore. All right, but this one can do 2 LEDs that are red, which is awesome. So now I know my battery works and I know my LEDs work.
We have a question from Venetia. She's saying that one of her LEDs does not want to work when it's in the circuit, and she has tested it with the battery.
So Venetia, my question would be, does a different LED work with your battery? Because if there's just one that's not working, that means that one is what we call a dead LED. So they can blow out, sometimes just overuse. Sometimes if you put a little too much current through it, like you put too big of a battery on it. Sometimes they just come defective and they didn't work in the first place. There's a lot of reasons why an LED might not work. But that's a great reason to always test exactly what you're using.
And it could be the battery might not have enough power to power more than one LED.
Yes. So especially if you're using red LEDs are very hungry for all of the energy. They eat a lot, so I probably wouldn't put more than a couple of red ones. But again, if it's like I can put one LED on and take that one off and the other one I put on doesn't work, that's an LED issue. If you're adding LEDs and then you put one on and it doesn't work anymore, that's like your battery doesn't have enough oomph to get it to do them all. Yeah. All right, so we're going to add our battery in. So your battery has two sides. The positive side is the one that has the writing. It even says a little plus for positive. And the negative side is just like a bunch of bumps. It's like a polka dot side. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a little piece of tape and put it just on the top of the battery, just like that, just on the tip, so that the rest of the surface of the battery is really easy to contact. It's just metal. The last thing we want to do is put a whole piece of tape all the way over the top. All right, so you just want the tape on the very tippity top, and we're going to tape it in on top of that circle. And you do need to make sure that it's going to make contact with this line that's coming down. So we're going to tape this guy in, just like this. And then our switch will be to fold this corner just like a doggy ear in a book. So right now I'm coming out of the top into this line. If I connected this, I would have a full circle because I could go here and I'd go into the bottom, which is exactly what I want. I can take my LEDs, and these ones, I want them to pop out of the page. So I'm just going to fold it up so it looks kind of like an L. And then I can spread the legs so that they both touch one row of copper tape. And I can test it even before I tape it in by closing my switch as I hold those guys in. Now, if you're attaching this and you attach one sort of, I don't know, if both of the tops and if like one line has both legs touching it, this won't work. So if I do this, oh, that will work. But if I go like that, it won't work. Or if I go on the bottom, it won't work. So you need to make sure that these legs are touching the copper tape. All right, I like to have them sort of go along the copper tape instead of just straight out, because I think that makes easier contact. But I know a lot of people just go straight out, and that's totally fine. All right, so I'm going to tape mine in by just using a piece of non-conductive tape. I don't want the copper tape there because I'm going over both rails. And now I have a full circuit because I'm going out the top, through this line, into the LED, and into the bottom. And I'm going to add another LED, just because I think it'd be fun to have two. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to tape it in just like that. So I'm going to add a little piece of Scotch tape. All right, here. And
we also made that beating heart circuit before.
I was going to say, did we do that? I couldn't remember if we did that together.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones.
It's been so many weeks.
It has been a while.
Yeah, so there it goes. And our beating heart circuit, you could just move your finger and it would beat. But here we can just make it beat like this with our switch, which is cool. All right, and now my last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make it pop up so that it'll have sort of a nice, fun look to it to really celebrate her science. So what I think I'm going to do for this part that pops up, like the other ones for Mae Jemison, we had this sort of rocket ship that popped up. And here I have all the food, and I'm going to cut the food out into the shape of a heart so that it'll kind of remind me about heart-healthy foods. I'm just going to cut a nice big heart here. And when I get towards the bottom of the heart, I'm going to leave it so it's not like actually at a point. So I might leave it like that. And then I can fold it up like this. And you can make it more pointy if you wanted to. So I now can remember that the food and my heart are related. I'm going to tape, because when I cut it, I just cut straight through the paper. So I'm going to tape this paper together like this. And then if I want to keep this so it stays up, because maybe it starts to flop down like that, what you can do is you can actually cut like a little strip right here and fold it over. You can make like a little arm stand. So what I do is, let's see if I can do this straight up and down for you guys. I'll hold my scissors funny. So you're going to cut straight down like this. And then you fold this piece sort of at an angle over. You'll notice as I fold it over, I can tape it to the back of that heart. And that will give it like a little stand without needing to do anything else, which is really quite handy if you ask me.
That was my idea.
It was Evan's idea. That was all Evan.
As well as cutting it out.
He is amazing, as well as cutting out. I know. He's added a lot. So we've also been cutting our scientist picture out. That's sort of next to our little quick short biography of our scientists. So I can cut her out so that she can also be spotlighted. Because every scientist likes to be spotlighted every now and then. So I can fold her up. I'm going to cut sort of maybe along this line too. So I can fold maybe a little bit more. Her up so that she looks like this. And I'll just fold it out. And again, since I cut through this, I'm going to tape that piece together. If you had like a knife in your parents, if you had like an X-Acto knife, you guys could totally cut these out a little bit nicer. But to be honest, this is not too difficult to do. And I kind of love that it uses just regular scissors. You don't have to worry about safety with regular scissors as much. All right, so I'm just gonna wrap the tape around so I kind of close that piece off. And then I can also cut right next to these letters and fold that up as another little stand piece. So we've been cutting right along the letters here. Just like that. And I'm gonna fold that piece up. Ooh, this one doesn't go as far actually. Oh no. Maybe I'll just keep cutting it a little longer. I'll just cut it all the way out like that. And I'm cutting mine all the way like this. And then I think I'll just somehow tape those pieces together. And I can, I think that might be too much. We'll go here. I'm just gonna fold that piece like that, tape it into the back. I can just fold the extra over. And I don't like that this feels like it could break really easily, so I'll show you a great little trick that you could do. And that is, you can take a piece of tape. Oh, that one's not long enough. I'm going to take a longer piece of tape. And I can just tape these guys together. Sticky on this side still, but what I can do is I can take another piece of tape that's the same length, and I can tape on the other side of it. So I could tape here, so I'm sticking tape to tape so that it's not actually sticky. It's just a quick way to solve that problem that it wasn't long enough. And now we have this awesome little way to celebrate Marie Maynard Daly, who taught us all about what we should and shouldn't eat, whether or not we like what her research ultimately told us. Like chocolate cake is maybe not the best thing to eat every day. I might disagree with that, but ultimately she's right. Because my opinion of eating chocolate cake every day doesn't outweigh the facts of science that she found. But I would still I would like her to be wrong, but I know she's not. All right. And
facts versus preference.
Yes, I know. My preference would be that milkshakes and sausages and meatballs did not impact my heart health. My ideal would be that it actually made me healthier. Right? But maybe then we would think broccoli tasted good, and maybe then broccoli would be the bad guy. I don't know. All right. That is our little quick lesson on Marie Maynard Daly. I want to say thank you guys so much for joining us, whether it's just today or the last 13 weeks or any amount in between. It has been amazing. I am so happy I got to share this time with you guys. We got to raise tadpoles. We got to raise butterflies. Our beetles just came out. We made poop, we made mummies, we celebrated black scientists, we made electromagnets, we floated boats. I mean, we did so many things together, and I can't tell you how fun it has been for me, because my passion is to teach you guys, and I'm so thrilled that you guys gave me the privilege to do that these last few months. I do hope that when we come back in July, we're going to do some paper circuit stuff too, and I hope that you guys will come back and join us, because I know that I will miss you all so much. So much. So thank you so much for joining me these past few weeks. I will say goodbye to my YouTube friends and hello over into Zoom as we celebrate our last day and have lunch together for the last time this month. All right. Goodbye, friends. Have a good one. I like my little heart.